Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker was directed by J.J. Abrams and stars Daisy Ridley, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, John Boyega. Pretty much a lot of people that was in the previous two movies are back in this movie. And this movie is the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, the conclusion of the sequel trilogy. A lot's riding on this movie. Well, guys, my most anticipated movie is finally here. I got to see the movie tonight. I just got back from seeing it. Let's talk about The Rise of Skywalker, and let's talk a little bit about Star Wars history leading up to The Rise of Skywalker, because this movie had a lot to accomplish. And I feel like I have to address the elephant in the room, and that is the split fandom that Star Wars has because of The Last Jedi. This movie, The Rise of Skywalker, had to win over fans that didn't like The Last Jedi, as well as please fans that did like The Last Jedi. Now, I'm on the spectrum that still likes The Last Jedi, and I'm done talking about that. I've defended the movie enough on this channel, but I will admit that I'm still on the spectrum that like The Last Jedi. So I've been hearing a lot of stuff that critics have been saying about this movie for people that did like it and didn't like The Last Jedi. So let's get into spoiler-free, of course, no spoilers in this video, The Rise of Skywalker and how it could divide fans even more, or it could bring fans together. Let's talk about it. So I'm going to go offbeat a little bit, and I'm actually not going to try to sum up the plot in this movie for a few reasons. Number one, I really can't figure out a way to describe the plot without giving out spoiler stuff that goes on in the plot. And you know me, no spoilers. I don't want to do any spoilers. And also because the plot has a lot that's going on in this movie. You know, we jump from one thing to another and it keeps going like that. And I can't really find a way to explain that without giving it away. So all I'll say about the plot is there's a lot going on and you should just go see the movie if you want to know what the plot's about. Jumping right ahead to the characters, I love these characters. You know, Star Wars fans can say whatever they want about this new trilogy and these characters. I like all these characters. I love Rey. I love the character of Rey. I don't agree with the Mary Sue comments. People have explained it to me dozens of times. I still don't agree with it. I don't care to agree with it. I like Daisy Ridley as an actress, and I like Rey as a character. I honestly do. Same thing with Kylo Ren. I think Adam Driver is a very good actor, and I like the character of Kylo Ren. And there's a lot of stuff with Kylo Ren in this movie that I just absolutely loved. Easily by far, his stuff in the movie is one of my favorites. It's one of the biggest highlights of the movie. I love what they do with Kylo Ren in this movie. And we also get a lot of Poe and Finn dynamic in this movie, and I love these two characters. I love Oscar Isaac and John Boyega. They work really well off each other. They have kind of a nice friendship slash, I don't really want to say bromance, but that's kind of stretching it a little too far. But they do have a nice friendship and partnership going on in the movie, and that's another one of the big highlights in the movie. Let's talk about Lando, because Lando was really brought up early on in production, and he was mentioned a lot in post-production. He's great in the movie. You know, I'm not going to say what he does in the movie, but he's fantastic. I loved seeing Billy D. Williams back. He feels like he hasn't lost it. You know, Lando was back in full form. Basically, I loved all the characters, the ones from the previous movies, and the new characters, because there are inclusions of new characters, and they didn't feel out of place. They felt very welcomed into this movie and to the Star Wars saga. But let's talk about, very briefly, one character that isn't a spoiler, because everyone knew this character was coming back, Emperor Palpatine. Ian McDiarmid kills it as the Emperor in this movie. He is phenomenal. He looks so terrifying. I know they haven't been showing anything how the Emperor looks in the trailers or TV spots or whatever, or posters even. He is terrifying in this movie. And I'm going to say this. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I'm going to say it. I think this is the best performance of the Emperor in the entire Star Wars saga. Sue me. He really sold me on his performance, and it's terrifying. I can't get over that. He's so scary in this movie. The setting, the way he looks, it's great. However, there is a problem with the Emperor that I'll address a little bit later, but for the most part, I think the Emperor did a good job in this movie. On to my pros, this movie looks beautiful. There's a lot of exciting action scenes in this movie. J.J. Abrams is known for his exciting action that takes place in the movie. And the movie, the CGI and all that, it looks great. It is in top form. There's not really anything that kind of stands out as you look at it and you say, yeah, that's CGI. There's not really anything like that. At least to my eyes, it wasn't. And like I mentioned earlier, I love these characters, these new characters in this new sequel trilogy. And I like what they do in the movie. Again, plot point, I'm not going to get into it. But they work really well off each other, and they're definitely the highlight of the movie. Now, something that critics have been mentioning, and it's something that I couldn't really avoid going into this movie, is that a lot of critics were saying that this movie kind of retcons decisions that The Last Jedi made. I wouldn't quite say they're retconned. They found a way to kind of blend in questions that The Force Awakens answered while still keeping in canon what some parts of The Last Jedi set up, if you get what I mean. And for the most part, I think it does a good job doing that. It does a good job balancing what The Last Jedi did, but also what The Force Awakens set up. A lot of people are saying that The Last Jedi was also a setup movie just like The Force Awakens was. I don't fully know about that. I might have to rewatch all three of these movies to kind of base that decision. But I feel like this movie would please for the most part, people that didn't like The Last Jedi and fans that did like The Last Jedi, as well as The Force Awakens. People that didn't like The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, wherever the fandom stands, I feel like some parts in this movie will bring together certain fans that didn't and did like certain parts of this new trilogy. Hopefully it does. Now on to my negatives, because this movie does have some negatives, and it's just a movie. Calm down, it's just a movie. One of the big things that I've been hearing about this movie before I saw it was that it's very convoluted. And seeing the movie, yeah, it kind of is. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to describe the plot in the movie. It's because the plot goes from one thing to another. We got to do this, the characters got to do that, we got to go here, we got to go there. And it's intertwined pretty good for the most part. I'm not going to say it's bad, because I personally don't think it was handled bad. But I understand completely why some fans and critics were put off with the fact that the first two acts are kind of convoluted. I can definitely understand that. And there's also a few parts with the Emperor that not going to get into because of spoilers that did leave me a bit disappointed. And I actually saw the movie with my sister. She kind of explained kind of her perspective on said certain things about the Emperor, and it does make sense when I think about it. My personal thing is, I just wish some of the stuff would have been explained a little bit better. That's as best I can get it without giving away a lot of stuff. But for the problems that I do have in the movie, it really makes up for the third act. The third act is gigantic. There is so much stuff that I loved in the third act. So much stuff with Rey, Kylo Ren, the Emperor, Luke eventually showing up. We know Luke's in the movie, and he does show up in the movie. But the stuff in the third act is phenomenal. I don't like to use the word epic, even though I have used it before, but I feel like the third act is the definition of epic in this movie. So overall, I like The Rise of Skywalker. I don't know where it stands in my ranking for these movies. I might have to watch the movie again before I do a ranking video, because I am planning one. But I would say for right now, overall, I did like this movie. I think it did tie together the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga pretty well for the most part. Really quick, also, I feel like I should mention Leia. Leia's inclusion in this movie was handled with deleted scenes and other parts from past performances of Star Wars that are kind of twined together with this movie. And it was very difficult to do. I imagine it was very difficult to do, but I think they pulled it off. Her inclusion in the movie, it didn't feel out of place. It was satisfying overall. The stuff with Leia was very, very satisfying, and I'm glad they didn't CGI her. I'm glad they didn't recast her, and yeah, it worked. I felt like it definitely worked. The score is good, the action's good, the performances are good, the movie looks good. The movie does have convoluted aspects of it, and I can understand why that could put some people off. You know, again, it's a lot of bouncing back and forth and a lot of explaining, a lot of exposition and explaining. And I can understand why some people are put off with that. I was okay with it with the most parts, and it didn't really bother me all that much. But again, I understand where people are coming from. And I would say that The Rise of Skywalker is a Blu-ray purchase for me, not just because I own multiple Blu-rays of the Star Wars movies, but because I can see myself watching this movie over and over again. Well, not over and over again, but I can see myself watching this movie multiple times after it comes out on Blu-ray. I am on the spectrum that overall likes this movie. I'm not quite sure if it's my least favorite of this new trilogy. Again, I have to see the movie again to kind of piece all that stuff together, but as of right now filming this review, overall it's enjoyable and I liked it. So if you've guys seen The Rise of Skywalker, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. Where does it rank in your Star Wars ranking, and you know, which one do you like better of this new sequel trilogy? For me, my favorite is still The Force Awakens, but whatever your thoughts on everything is, let me know in the comment section. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, then click right here. And I'll see you guys next time.